Hi, good morning, KW Milwaukee. It's a beautiful 65-degree day in October 25th. So it's gonna be a great day. A couple things right up front. Actually, I don't really have a lot of things up front, so we'll just jump right into it. I always start with that, and I'm like, where am I going with it this morning? But here we go. We're gonna jump right into it. So again, we've been on this theme for a little bit, talking about vendor partners of ours. We don't bring them in often. It's been a little bit of a theme as we've tried to showcase to you a handful of very small select people, right? We do this maybe once or twice a year in select windows. This morning I'm going to introduce you guys to Andy. Andy is from Camo Crew Junk Removal. Here's why it's near and dear to me. Okay. My dad's a veteran. My brother-in-law is an active duty service member, been deployed over in Europe for a couple of years. I have a huge affinity for the military and veterans. Okay. You hear it in my voice. If you don't understand what military families go through, well, I guess it's hard to describe, but those that understand it have a totally different level of respect for the men and women who serve and the men and women who come back to run really successful businesses. And I will tell you this, it's amazing the veterans that come back to do incredible things within our community. So with that, I'm flipping it over to Andy to talk about Camo Crew Junk Removal.
No, I really do appreciate that. Everything we do is veteran centric in our business. The other thing we're really proud of is the partnership we've had all these years with KW. I know I'm in a KW office because I can hear you guys from across the street. Like 9 o'clock, it's raining, and you guys are excited to be here. And that always excites me because there's a lot of realtors and everywhere I go. I've been fortunate. At one point, I had 10 franchises across the country. First time I was in a KW office was in San Diego, and they were fanatic. And ever since then, I'm like, this is a brand I want to get behind because you guys do things different. You shake things up. And I'm always excited to partner with KW. We're doing a Christmas party later this year. We did a barbecue with one of the other sites. So KW is one of my favorite places to be. But today it's real simple. We're going to talk about how we sell houses. Why we do junk removal. First off, it's a military thing. I just came from a junk removal conference last week that I spoke at. And about 20 to 25% of independent junk removal businesses are owned by veterans. So there's a huge affinity when it comes to veterans running junk removal businesses. It's a job that not a lot of people want to do, and we love doing it. We love seeing the progress. But why it's important to you guys, right? It's all about getting that house sold. We want to reduce the barriers to getting the house listed, right? One of the biggest things is, what do I do with my stuff? It's not ready to show. We're the guys that take care of that. You don't have to sit there and convince people what to take and what not to take. That's our job to consult with them. But we know that no one wants that freezer in the basement. Right? We don't want that hot tub in the backyard. It's a liability, right? If we talk about from an accounting term, not an asset. We want to decrease the time to get the house listed. We want to increase the total sales price. We know the better they show, the better they go. And then finally, we want to reduce issues. We get calls on Thursday afternoons often from realtors for a Friday morning close. You guys kind of know how that story goes. I don't know how to explain that. So we're the guy you just like, hey, we need this taken care of, and we make the problem go away. One of the things we do different versus any other junk removal company, we have an 80% recovery rate on the material we bring back from a 5-phase recovery process that I developed. This is something I speak nationally about. I'm very proud of this. One of the leaders in the entire country. We have a facility in Butler, 20,000 square feet, where we bring material back so we can reduce, reuse, repurpose, recycle, and then responsibly dispose of. So we're really proud of that. And starting next year, January or February, we're going to invite out about 25 realtors here from KW to come take a tour of our facility. We'll be doing that quarterly because we want to extend the partnership both ways. You know, we'll love coming to see you guys. Love to have you guys come see us. All right, what we take, everything. That's it, right? So the list of things we don't take is smaller, and we'll start there, right? So everything from a single item. People are like, what's the minimum you need? One. If you have less than one thing, don't call me. You don't need me. If you have more than one thing, you can call us. So everything from one all the way to a full house, hoarding, nasty, people out of state. Here's a lockbox, clear it out, call us when it's done. Everything in between. So here's a list of things we don't take because realtors love to call me and ask. So here it is. Hazardous waste, chemicals, paint. Right? Mother-in-laws, spouses, and kids. See, I tell the joke because then like in a week from now, someone's like, I thought you said you take paint. Nope. Remember I told that sweet joke about mother-in-laws? Yeah. So Don't take paint, don't take chemicals, anything liquid we don't take. But what we will do for you is we will provide you a tub. We will put all that stuff into a tub. We will put it into your car or the seller's car. And then we will tell them based on their city or county, when and where they can take those chemicals free of charge. Too easy. Milwaukee County, Waukesha County can go to Veolia Environmental Services. Washington, Ozaukee County, a little more difficult, but we will get you those resources so you can pass on to your customer. The whole goal is we sell the house and nothing's in it. Where we service Milwaukee, Waukesha, Ozaukee County. We will go out farther for larger projects. We will go out farther for KW. So if you guys have a listing up in Fond du Lac County, up in Sheboygan, we'll go up there, chase those down. All right. One of the beautiful things about us is we used to do a bunch of things. Now we only do junk removal. Very specific. Our goal is to take care of you guys within 24 hours. Right? So if you call, if it's called by noon, same day, less than half a trailer, we'll take care of it. If it's up to a full trailer, it's about 48-hour turnaround time. Full houses, we want to get done in 5 days. And we really honed in our processes to make that happen. We had a recent situation with a KW agent up in Menominee Falls, called us on a Tuesday morning. It was closing at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on that Tuesday. Said, I don't know, there's like a half trailer. It took me like 4 pictures. Went there and ended up being 2.5 trailers. They still closed that day. They closed because the other agent knew that we were there and we weren't going to leave until it was done. So even when your sellers don't do a great job of planning, we're the solution there. Free estimates, pretty simple. And then what we talked about, what we are, right? We're veterans. Those two guys in the picture there are both Marine Corps veterans. I'm an Army veteran. We're huge when it comes to environmental responsibility. That's why we love to have you guys out there. And then we're also members of the community. I'm an adjunct professor at UW-Madison. I mentor students at Elmbrook School District. We also do Young Guns, which empowers entrepreneurs, salespeople here in the area to connect. So it's all about building this great community in Milwaukee. I've been far and wide. I had 10 businesses across the country, but there's no place like home. I stay here. I love it here. I love you guys. I love being in this area. I love hauling you guys' junk. That's it. 5 minutes hard. Done.
You know what I appreciate people in the military? It's operational efficiency at
That's
its
it.
finest.
I don't stick around if you guys want to ask questions. And here's a raging review. Go ahead.
I have had fun about looking at businesses several times, understating how well he serves. His entire team is very professional, very polite, very timely. I recommend him without hesitation, highly. I toured the facility. It's a great resource to have, and I recommend him all.
Peter Gossman just said he gives a personal recommendation. He's visited the facility and has used them a ton. Highly recommends them. Guys, we choose to partner with great people. Now, we do our due diligence to make sure that we're choosing great partners for you. And again, I have a very strong affinity for those that have served. So Camo Crew is who we've chosen to partner with in terms of this space from a junk removal standpoint. So guys, and Andy, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right. I forgot I had one slide up front. Here's the deal. I'm looking for talent for a lot of variety of different ways. So if you know someone that wants to, I don't know, get out of teaching, is a former police officer, is maybe a nurse who wants to leave the hospital, maybe it's a real estate agent who couldn't quite hack it. Whatever it may be, I have an enormous amount of opportunities that I am trying to help people fill, whether it's teams, whether it's on our own team, whatever it may be. I always say when talent shows up, opportunity will present itself. I'm just looking for talent. So if you know someone that would be incredibly talented, that would be a great addition to our environment, to our squad, to our team, to our community, let me know, let Mandy know, let Josh know, let Deej know, because I want to connect talent with great opportunities, and we have a lot of great opportunities. So we've had a lot of success of putting this out into our environment and finding incredible talented people, because people within our squad know and understand our level of expectations and understand what it is to work within our environment. And we found some of our best hires and talented people through our network and our community. So if you know of anybody that's looking for a gig, have them hit me up, because I am looking for people and I will help them place them into great opportunities based on their skill sets for that opportunity. Make sense? All offices, all locations, all teams, whatever it is that you may have, like, I am looking for talent, and based on where they live and what they want to do, I will help place them based on where I think they would be a good fit to help serve our entire organization. Make sense? Beautiful. So if you know anybody, have them hit me up. Mandy, Deej, Josh, let us know. Cool. All right, jumping back into it. I'm flipping it over to Sheriff Reed or Steph. I can't remember. Lieutenant Steph. Which one of you is going through how to get paid on non-MLS properties?
That's me. Hello, that's me. Sheriff Reed is ready. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead, Joan.
Good. Steph and I, when we talk to team meeting, we usually like to go back to topics that we are getting phone calls. And this is one of those topics that it seems that a lot of you know how to word this in a contract, but we find out that quite a few of you really are not quite sure how to get this. This is a situation where you're working with a for sale by owner, or maybe a builder, or maybe it's a listing in MLS, but it's not, it's offering less than 2.4. Can you hear me? Okay, good.
We got it. You're good.
Good. So this is just short and quick, but it's something to remind you on how to word this in a contract correctly, and so that we're all on the same page. And you can switch. So actually, this is only for a buyer's agent. You really can't ask for to be compensated for a customer in this sense. But if you have a client who wants to write on a property that is non-MLS, for sale by owner, as I said, or a builder or whatever, or it is an MLS, but it's offering less than the agree upon 2.4 or 3, whatever you have in your buyer agency agreement. So if you want to, if you're in those situations, I want to give you the right wording. So you draft an amendment. If you're going to ask to raise it up to 2.4, or you want the whole commission to be paid, or you're sure that you're going to be paid, do you draft an addendum to your offer asking the seller to pay your commission? True or false? Do you draft an addendum to your offer to raise the offered commission of, say, 2 to 2.4? True or false? Next slide. False. You don't do it that way. If you are writing in an offer that you want to be paid, you have to do it on behalf of your client, on behalf of the buyer. So this is actually a violation of the standard of practice for you as an agent to ask to be paid in an offer. Realtors shall not use the offer to attempt to modify a listing firm's offer of compensation or direct the non-MLS seller to pay the agent's stated commission. This is a violation not only of standard of practices, but also in Article 16 of the Code of Ethics. So that's why we're bringing it up today. We want you to do it correctly. So correctly is the offer, you have to remember, is only communication between the buyer and the seller. There is no place in there for the agent to talk. So the buyer may condition his offer upon the seller paying some or all of the buyer broker's fee on behalf of the buyer as the seller's expense at closing. And it's worded, seller shall, on buyer's behalf, pay to the buyer agent firm Keller Williams Realty. And the blank is how much they pay. So it's either 2.4 or whatever you're asking for. I don't know what happened to my blank. Or this is actually a clause in our zip form clause library. Seller agrees to pay blank % of the purchase price or a flat amount to Keller Williams Realty at the time of closing to be applied toward buyer's brokerage fees. So you could actually pull that right out of the zip form clause library and put it in your offer. Remember, you have to ask for your compensation on behalf of your buyer. If the buyer is only asking the offered commission and MLS to be raised to the buyer agency agreement, say your buyer agency agreement has 2.4, in MLS, it's being offered at 2. You can ask for that additional commission in your offer on behalf of the buyer. So it will read, in addition to the offer of compensation listed in MLS, seller shall, on buyer's behalf, pay to buyer agent's firm, Keller Williams Realty, 1% of the sale or 0.4% of the sale, or whatever you want to raise it up to your buyer agency agreement. So in the buyer agency agreement, there is a sentence in there that authorizes the buyer's firm to accept compensation directly from the seller. So that is needed in order to make this additional compensation. So the phrases are there, the phrases are in Zip Form Library, but make sure that you use them in this way, that you're asking the seller on buyer's behalf. You're not asking the seller directly for commission. Okay, the last one. If the seller does not consent on behalf of the buyer, seller can say, no, I'm not going to do this. To compensate the buyer agent's firm upon successful closing, the buyer has agreed to compensate the agent's firm the agreed upon amount of compensation in the buyer agency agreement. So we're a little shy of asking our buyers to compensate us in a buyer agency agreement, but it is there. They've signed it. And if you've explained it correctly, you can be paid either from the seller or from your buyer. That's it.
Joni, thank you. Guys, it's not just for a little perspective for you. In the commercial world, the buyers pay their commercial broker their commission, agreed upon commission. So that's agreed upon up front. I will say this too, the reason why I think this is really important, I think for the future, I do see a time in which that we're going to have to negotiate for our commissions on behalf of the buyer, with the buyer directly, based on how some of these antitrust suits are going to come out. It may not be bad practice to begin understanding what that may look like or how to begin flexing those muscles. Now, I understand it's an uncomfortable conversation to be had. At some point, I think in the near future, and I think Joe and you would concur to agree, like we're going to have to learn how to do this. And if you come across a off-market property, a FSBO, whatever it may be, it's not a bad thing to begin practicing how you have those conversations with buyers. Just planting a seed. Joan, did I miss anything on that?
No, it's done already in several parts of the country. It's done in the East Coast quite a bit. The center part of Wisconsin, the buyer clients are paying their buyer's broker part of the commission. So it is definitely something that's coming, I think. And you have to understand what your value is, just like you present your value to a seller in a listing presentation. You must be able to present your value to a buyer in a buyer agency presentation.
Yeah. And again, we're not telling you have to go out and do this now. It's more so just we're starting to plant the seed that you could start to see this coming down more and more frequently.
How are you doing it? Are they like increasing the price of the property? Are they wrapping it into closing costs?
Joni, how are they doing it? How is that getting paid out? Is it wrapped into closing costs, increasing the price of the property? Like how is that come back?
I'm not sure how they do it in the out east, because there are a lot of things they do differently than we do. But in the center part of the state, I think they take it, it's in the closing statement that it's a charge to the buyer, but I'm not exactly sure. And it's open for, you know how creative real estate agents can get. It's open to very creative solutions.
I will tell you one time there was I forgot who this was. Someone came forth because they were selling a property, and instead of taking commission, they exchanged their services for a vehicle, and they picked up an old like 1964 Ford Mustang or something crazy. And it was like, all right, this was an agreed upon compensation. So, yes,
For if they, closing statement, it gets wrapped up in the, into the mortgage.
yeah, Joni, point of clarification is if it gets included in the closing statement, it can get wrapped into the mortgage of their overall costs, correct?
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Correct.
And the lender may not want that.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so I feel like we're about to unwrap an onion here that I don't know how to get out of, so we're gonna keep moving forward. Maureen said it all depends on what your percentage is in terms of whether the lender will allow it within the being wrapped into the mortgage.
Yeah, there,
So-
there are all sorts of things like that, that the buyer should always check with their lender. With some of the, and the lender will see it in the contract also. That's why
Cool.
you have to ask it on behalf of the buyer in the contract.
Cool. Joni, thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
More to
everybody.
come on this topic. Just wanted to start the conversation. Guys, one other thing, just wanted to remind the group, we do have the contract helpline. If you don't have this number saved, Stephanie Minnick and now Sarah Jo Dietrich are now reporting and responding to contract helpline questions. You can call this number, you can text this number. And we want to thank Stillman for his longtime service to the contract helpline, but Sarah Jo has been a great addition to the contract helpline. Just wanted to make sure that this was on your guys' radar as we continue to plug this. And if you need additional support or simple questions, and you don't want to bug Joan or you don't want to bug Steph, like these guys are great resources at your disposal. So feel free to save this number 414-368-9359. It's a great resource for you.
Thank you, Stillman.
Thank you, Stillman. The mayor has moved on. All right. I'm going to lead with upcoming trainings and events. I'm going to plant a seed. Lindsay's going to talk about something, and then I'm going to finish with the market update for you. Okay. And there's a very specific reason as to why I kind of jumbled these things around. So stay with me here. So upcoming trainings and events, couple things this week, lots of things going on as it relates to Halloween. So Tuesday at Innovation, there's a little trick or treat at the office at Innovation from 3 to 5 p.m. If you want to come check it out, kids are encouraged, costumes are encouraged. Then Lake Country on Thursday night. If you have not been, it is quite frankly the biggest block party in Heartland. It is amazing. The Lake Country Heartland Business Trick or Treat on Thursday night, starting at 4 o'clock, is, I mean, you would think Santa Claus showed up. I mean, it is insane how many people are there. It's a total open house. So if you're looking for something to do, again, with your kids in costumes, all the businesses participate. It's a really fun event, Thursday, October 27th. And then in North Shore, we're doing a happy hour on Friday evening, October 28th from 3 to 5. And then not here on this slide, also on Silver Spring, little sidebar. As the president of the Whitefish Bay Business Improvement District, I would welcome you to Silver Spring Drive on Saturday morning, where also another trick-or-treat event for kids and alike. So feel free to stop out to the many different areas as it relates to Halloween this week. One other thing to share with you, hold on, I'm going to come back to that, is save the date. Friday, December 2nd is the KW holiday party. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know that this is an interesting party that turns into something really fun. So we have a whole party planning committee. This year's theme is Mad Men. So like 1960s style chic. It will be at the same place we had it last year with a little bit of a different twist at the Vista. We'll have both the second floor and third floor. Different things that come versus last year, but we will be back downtown in Vista. The reason why we do it downtown is I am all about supporting friends who are still trying to climb out of what they lost during COVID in the restaurant scene, the live events scene. The family that owns Vista is the one that owns the Camp Bars in Milwaukee. Good friends of KW, has bought and sold a lot of real estate with KW agents. So we like to support those who support us. So Mad Men holiday theme, Friday, December 2nd. We always try and do it the first Friday after Thanksgiving because I know what the holidays look like as you get further into December. So 6 to 11-ish. Be there. And yeah, more news to come as it relates to the holiday party. Cool. All right. Next up, tomorrow, we go back into Bold, October 26th from 9 to 2:30 with our coach, Dennis Russell, also a military veteran, captain in the Army, right? I don't think I have to discuss my affinity for the military any more than I already have, but Dennis will be back tomorrow, October 26th at the Zoo Conference Center. So for the 130-ish people that have signed up, be ready. We have you on teams of 8. There are 18 teams of 8. And we have pre-selected the captains. And we are running this in a highly efficient, operationally efficient manner in order for you to maximize the time and activities. Now, coming up as it relates to October training calendar, we have team financials and team dynamics with Rick Rubin in the innovation office at 11 o'clock. If you're interested in that on Thursday at 11, be there or be square. We have reached out to many of the Rainmakers to ensure that this is on your radar to attend. We have roughly already 25 people who have committed, along with a handful of people from externals who are interested in learning about the team dynamics from Rick. Along with the host of Halloween events, and then Maureen and Friends is this week on Friday at 10 a.m. as well. Now, November training calendar is coming out. And you may say to yourself, wow, this looks a little light for November. Here's why, because I'm going all in on Bold. With the 140 plus people that are in Bold, we are going to go all in on Bold, and we're going to make Bold a 7-day experience. You're going to get more information from me as it relates to how we're going to make this a 7-day experience, because I need you to think about the activities that you are doing within Bold in order for you to be successful. Make sense? Only other thing is a caveat as it relates to coming up for the month of November as it relates to the training and events calendar. Veterans Day is November 11th. And then the week of Thanksgiving is totally stripped clean just because it's Thanksgiving week. Make sense? But we are all in on Bold in the month of November, which is why the way the calendar looks the way it does. Yes, Steph.
To for your comments in the first one, when you said, okay, we were about to do that 15 minutes of calling.
Yes.
And you stopped the show and said.
Get in your car. Yeah.
And I personally need to do that because I was about to dial it. I didn't, so that was very helpful. It's cool. And this.
Steph said she was basically thanking me for my comments as it relates to the activities within the Bold room. Because I said, listen, if you don't want to do the activities, there's the door, get in your car and go home. Don't waste your time. And I also know this, I talked to a lot of people who booked appointments within a 15-minute period. So let's get into that, because I want to plant a seed and it's a great segue. Okay. And here's what I want to plant. I'm going to show you a quick little video. And Timmy Reardon sent this to me because he's in my morning workout at 5:30 a.m. Okay. So shout out to Tim Reardon. However, Tim's not the most consistent person.
If you go to the gym.
So ironic that Tim sent me this video, but here we go.
And you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. So clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit. Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action and you stick with it, you commit yourself to an act of service. You commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. You can screw it up. You can eat chocolate cake one day, you can skip a day or two, but if you stick with it consistently, you'll start getting into shape. Going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape. Working out every day for 20 minutes gets you into shape. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back.
It's about consistency and frequency. Okay. Consistency and frequency. Doesn't need to be 8 hours of activity. It needs to be 15 minutes of activity. Last week, I talked about the ROI within the call time of the 15 minutes of Bold, okay, versus the 15 minutes of texting. And we equated to the opportunity of income that was derived from the activity was greater during the call time period than it was during the text time and social media time. Now, I'm going to use another example because last week, I led the group through pizza call night. And for the world of, I always say the world is run by those who show up. I want to give a shout out to Pete Gossman, Gail Green, Leah Bird, Sarah Jo Dietrich, Brad Yates, and myself who joined me last week, Wednesday, to lead through pizza call night. Okay. And I want to give you another context to the example of how consistency wins out over time. This group called for 1 hour straight. Every 15 minutes, I stopped to gather their results. In the 1 hour, they booked 13 appointments. Okay. The average GCI of the appointments is $9,000 based on our market. So we take 13 appointments times $9,000 for a GCI is $117,000 of gross commission income appointments that were booked. Now, if you divide that by 6 people, 117 divided by 6, the return on that investment of 1 hour of time is 19,500. So 19,500, if you remember 2 weeks ago in the bold room, it was roughly around 22,500. My point being is you're basically seeing in an hour's worth of activity, a $20,000 return on that time of investment. Okay. And as Simon Sinek, I think very eloquently stated, is consistency over time is what wins out. If you do it one day and you don't see the results, is it going to force you into giving up? Right? And are you being consistent with your activities over time? Because here's what I know. Everything we've talked about as it relates to market stats is telling us what? It's going to get harder to earn the income you desire. Okay? There just isn't enough deal activity to be had within the marketplace. Now, you can completely control your outcome. And there's ways in which that you can control your outcome in order to buck the trends or buck whatever is going on within the marketplace to say, yeah, you know what? I don't really care if the market's down 20%. My business is up 20. The market may be down 20%, but my business is up 20% because I invested my time, energy, and resources into my database and calling my people and catching up with them. And let me ask you this. When was the last time your attorney called you? When was the last time your CPA called you? When was the last time your dentist called you? When was the last time your mechanic called you? They don't, because it's a transactional service. This is a relationship-based business. And if you want to continue to earn the income you desire or to achieve the goals you want to in 2023, you can do it. You just have to do it in spite of what's going on with the outside noise. Does that make sense? Now, I'm also going to give you something that you need to be thinking about right now. And I've been challenging this group as it relates to planning for your business for 2023. Now, stick with me here. This is a very robust chart, but it's a very correlative example. Last week when I was in Texas, and I'll get more into that conversation at later dates because there was a lot of things that went on, but we'll get into it later. There was one slide that I took a screenshot of, and this was, if you look here, on the left axis is the number of agents. On the right axis, which correlates to the red line, is GCI. Now, on the bottom axis is the number of contacts they have in Command. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to use Command. I'm just telling you the number of contacts they have within a database is the most important takeaway here. Okay? Now, what do you notice? Those with the largest databases make the most amount of money. Those with the largest databases make the most amount of money. Those with the largest databases make the most amount of money. Those with the largest databases make the most amount of money. Now, it's interesting to me that using Command as an example, there are 2,145 agents that have entered 5,000 plus contacts in Command. And of those 2,145 agents, they average $350,000 in GCI. Now let's take the inverse to that. There's 44,000 agents who have less than 10 contacts within Command. Their average GCI is 23,000. It's a database game. It's a nurture game, and it's a consistency over time game. And so I use the video as an example talking about working out, and I use the example of the pizza call night in the bold room to say consistency over time wins out, right? So having said that, I'm going to flip it over to Lindsay, who's going to give you a little Tech Tuesday update as it relates to what it is that you could be doing to touch your database this week as we head into the bold room and ways in which that you can communicate with them.
All right, well, that was such a great segue. Thank you for all of that content, Charlie. So guys, yes, we are in full swing with Bold. And I just wanted to provide a tool and just to remind you guys about that KW Consumer Search app, because it is going to help you when you are connecting with your database and you are sitting down in that bold room and you're supposed to be texting people or calling people, because this is an awesome awesome tool, awesome way to connect with your database and with really anybody. And so how do you use the KW Consumer app to complete a Bold 100? Well, what is a Bold 100? A lot of you already know this, but if you don't, it is having 100 conversations in a single day. And you can use the app in order to accomplish this. So the KW Consumer app, it can be branded to you as the agent. So if you've had a sit down with me, I've probably gone over this with you. Any new agent, this is part of our KW orientation meeting, because it's so important to have this tool at your disposal. Everybody has a real estate search app on their phone. As Brad Yates says, break up with Zillow. So the KW app, it's branded to you. You can easily pull out your phone, text somebody your unique app URL. So if you have this branded to you as the agent, you have your own unique app URL. When someone downloads it, they download it, they create an account, it's automatically branded to you as their agent. You automatically capture that contact in your database. You can track their activities. So all of their saved searches, their collections, you can see everything that they're doing, and it creates that better relationship between you and your buyer or your seller. And so from your phone, you'll see in that screenshot there, you can send a text message, you can send it via email, you can share it on social media directly from your phone. And there's a ton of other resources within Command, not even just pulling out your phone and sharing this with your clients, but there is a specific campaign or smart plan within Command that you can email this out. So the email's created, you don't have to do a thing. You literally select all of your contacts and you send this out. So if you have a database of 500, 2000 contacts, 10 contacts, doesn't matter, select all, send this out. It's such an easy touch. And as I said, it's completely done and ready for you to use. So besides that email campaign, there's also social media posts that you can use. There are those neighborhood videos that you can send out via email, via social media. There's an entire library within Command, as you can see in the screenshot there. All of these templates are in designs, they're free, they're ready for you guys to use. Create social media posts promoting your app. You have that unique app URL. You can create a QR code from it. So there's so many different ways that you can utilize this and promote this app. And so if you have questions on any of these assets that are available, tech training, marketing workshops this week are all dedicated to the app. So if you want to learn more, all 3 market centers, you will be able to pop in, ask questions, we'll do some training, we'll grab our phones. If you can't make that, guys, we're available, reach out, set up a one-on-one, happy to help with this.
All right, so I'm going to give you another analogy. Why is it that 90% of the time clients say they had a positive experience with their agent, yet roughly 60% of the time they only use them for the next transaction? Yeah, they become orphan clients. Now, I'm going to give you something to think about as it relates to your consumer app. Okay, think of it like mobile banking. How many of you bank at a bank that you actually don't really enjoy banking with, but the thought of moving banks is overwhelming, right? I will tell you, I have the personal situation going on right now. All my stuff is set up at one bank, even though I want it all to be at Johnson Bank, okay? And I can't get out of the bank A, which will go unnamed, because I'm overwhelmed at the thought of moving 100 prepaid bills over to another app. Right? Think of this the same way as it relates to your app and how you maintain a relationship with your client. And if they're using your app and you get the data and the insights to your app, you able to have a stronger connection to that client, and the likelihood that they continue to use you for further transactions is much stronger than if they send you a Zillow or Realtor.com or a Shore West app, which they can quickly become orphaned or siphoned away to someone else who pays for the, I don't know, a Zillow Premier Lead or whatever it is that may be. You have to think about the connections you're making and how sticky they are. And the reason why I'm challenging so many people, and it's funny, the group on Wednesday night heard this. I'm on this lead gen crusade, talking about lead gen, because I want you to succeed in 2023. And I will do everything I possibly can to ensure your success. And I'm going to continue to talk about it till I'm blue in the face, because I have to get you guys to think in order to get you guys to act. So more news to come as it relates to relationships, and Sarah's going to laugh at this, and how I relate relationships to buying a new car. Okay. But again, I'm planting seeds in your mind because I need you and want you to be successful in 23, because your families desire it, your spouses, your partners, your kids, college education, whatever it may be, desire it. And I'm going to continue to talk about lead generation and the ways in which you guys do it. Make sense? Cool. And here's why I'm doing it until I'm blue in the face. Is I'm going to go through the market insights as to what we're seeing. Last week, I went through as to what September told us. This week, which I have not done, I looked at this. I have not done this in weeks, maybe months, have looked at it on a weekly basis. Okay. Showing time activity. This is North America. The orange line is 2022. The dark blue line is 2021. The light blue line is 2020. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what. Buyer showing activity across North America is softening. Okay? It's like a vanilla ice cream cone on a 100-degree day. Now, state of Wisconsin, here's the positive side to it. When you compare the two, what do you notice? Okay, buyer demand is somewhat stronger, and there is more of a demand within Southeast or within Wisconsin than there is in North America. Okay, that's positive. And yet, what do you also notice versus the last 2 years? It's softening. Okay, this is why I'm on this lead gen crusade, and I'm going to continue to challenge you, and I'm going to continue to challenge you on your database, because I know that the number of contacts in your database and the number of times in which you touch them correlates to your income. Okay, now sales absorption rates. The red line is the latest 24-week average. The blue line is the linear trends that we're seeing across those 24 weeks. What do you notice for the first 3 weeks of October? It's gotten softer. I'll give you the answer. Now, good news is the last 2 weeks is a bit stronger than what we saw in late September. Okay, sales absorption is the percentage of inventory that goes under contract in a given week. It's an indication of buyer demand. The fact that we're seeing it around 9%, 8%, when, going back to May, it was anywhere from 10 to 15%. Part of it's the seasonality of the business, right? But it's also telling you based on the trend lines of why I keep harping on activities, database correlates to GCI. Okay. Units under contract. Again, latest 24-week average is in red. It's 500 average units over the last 24 weeks. You can see here based on the trend line. Again, what I don't want you to hear and see is that, like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. There is seasonality to this data. I'm comparing this versus basically the peak of the market. And yet I also cannot afford, and you cannot afford, to take November and December and January off, as so many people do. Right? Now, moving on, new units. On the latest 24 weeks, the average is 645. The last 3 weeks, 4 weeks even, has been trending downward. I really believe, yes, buyer demand is softening, but part of the reason for where we are right now is inventory is lower than it's quite frankly been in the last 3 years. And so because of the lack of inventory, it's just there is a considerable less deal activity to be had. And it's not necessarily because the buyers just poof and vamoose, they went away. So new inventory units have been part of our challenges within our industry is if we want to change our trends or change our trajectory, we have to be really good in terms of being the economist of choice for those that are thinking about selling and helping articulate our value proposition to help them see the return on their investment for when they decide to sell. Because we have to help create action. And if we create action of bringing more inventory to the market, those that control the inventory control the market. Okay. And then lastly is total for sale inventory units. You can see here, it really peaked in July and August. And as I've shown before, historically, inventory peaks October, November within the marketplace. So the fact that you're now starting to see that dip over the, like below the 24-week average of 4,460 units. And right now we're sitting at 4,354 units. It tells me that the market inventory is it's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking in a time when historically it rises. So the reason I show you this I showed the weekly basis is because last week I was a little tongue tied to say, I don't really know what's going on. Like prices are still going up, you know, deal activity slowing. I'm paying attention to the weekly trends because I'm trying to dig into the micro data to help you continue to understand what's going on. And the reason why I'm doing it is I'm trying to help you create action. So that when there's 15 minutes of call time in the bold room on Wednesday, that you don't get up and get in your car and you pick up the phone and say, man, I booked 4 appointments. That was a lot easier than I thought. And as the Simon Sinek video that I played earlier, it's all about consistency. And you don't go to the gym and lift 300 pounds on day one. You do it over time with consistent action, delivers consistent results. Make sense? That's where we're at. That's your team meeting for Tuesday, October 25th. You guys, as a reminder, in the North Shore today, Focus Title has a food truck that's been out in Lake Country and in Tosa the last couple of weeks. It is finishing up here today from 11 to 1. So feel free to swing on in for a little lunch, meet the new team. I sent out an organizational announcement this morning with some new people and new faces. Other than that, Lake Country, I'll let you jump over to the Lake Country Meetup, Innovation, and North Shore crew. I will jump over to new listings and buyer needs. Guys, have a phenomenal week. See you in the bold room tomorrow.